I really don't want to go much louder. I can go up to here. How's that? Is that better? Now you can talk, Clay.
You're definitely a lot louder.
Hello, is anyone there? You can hear me a little bit better. Everything's better.
On my end, you sounded fine, but can you just put this out as the clip video on Thursday?
Perfect. Hey everybody, welcome to the post show of Worst Case Scenario. If you're unfamiliar, we do a little bit of a Q&A section after the podcasts are recorded for the Pensky Podcast episodes. Those come out on Tuesday, and these come out on Thursday on YouTube, which is here we are on Thursday on YouTube with you. Thank you very much for being here. So what we do is we have a Discord, and the patrons at the top tier level can leave questions. Anyone in the stream who's watching the podcast be recorded can also leave a question. That's also limited to patrons and stuff like that. So I'm looking at our comments there now, and they're making me laugh. So here we are. Clay, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
These take about 15 minutes. We're going to talk about 3 questions or so. So our first question comes from longtime listener Kyle Barrett. It says, when will
you know what? Let's skip this one. Move on to the next question.
Kyle's probably too busy doing his conquer battles in Britain right now with the mushy nuts and isn't going to be able to be here. When will Clay accept that Ahsoka, am I saying that right? Ahsoka?
No, you're not. Ahsoka.
Okay, good. Ahsoka is designed as a sequel to the animated shows made directly for an audience already familiar with these characters and stories, and stop demanding to kowtow to the casual, obtuse, quote, Palpatine has advisors and Return of the Jedi style of fandom by wanting the show to explain 11 seasons worth of backstory just because he couldn't be bothered to watch the Clone Wars, despite someone putting in the effort to create an essential episodes guide just for him, and just admit maybe the show isn't for him and let those who is made for fucking enjoy it. Love, Kyle. So what do you have to say to that, Clay? This is like a Tuvok and Paris worst case scenario discussion.
I would say that even shows that are made as sequels to other shows should have internal sets of stakes and character work that set up the way things are working in the show that you are currently watching, right? Like if
we complain about this in Star Trek.
It doesn't matter if you've done 11 seasons of whatever. That's not what this is. This is something new, and so you are coming into this with a certain sense of being reset. And so in the story you are telling, relying on stakes and pre-existing knowledge of characters is pretty lazy as far as I'm concerned, especially if you're going from a cartoon show that like nobody watched as far as I don't know. Did you haven't watched it, right?
No,
we're pretty much the only people that matter. And into a live action
tastemaker, they call us tastemakers, Clay.
Which costs a lot more money, and I'm sure they would love for a lot more people to watch. And it's not rocket science. It takes like 3 lines of dialogue to explain why people are doing things, what the stakes are, why the bad guy of the show is a threat at all to anybody. It's not, especially the way that show ends up arcing their main character. They don't really give you a good setup of where she is at the beginning outside of the fact that she's just moping around all the time. Yeah. So I think even though it is building on stuff that came before, you need to establish your own set of parameters and stakes and character work for the story you're telling. Otherwise, you're just being lazy.
I haven't seen Ahsoka, but I haven't seen the Clone Riots, but I know a lot about Star Wars. I guess
Clown Wars. I think it's
having no familiarity with any of it, although I do know for the Star Wars thing. I guess my pushback would be purely from like a financial standpoint. I don't really understand the Disney overlord saying, "Yeah, this is a good idea. Just make this for only the people who watched that original show."
8 people who watched the cartoon. Yeah.
The thing costs $10 billion to make the show, right? They should, the priority from executives would probably be like, anyone needs to be able to watch this. I understand this character has a backstory, but you're going to have to explain what that backstory is for people because no one watched that original show.
And that's unfair to say nobody watched it. People did watch it, and they were kids when they watched it, and now they're old, and now they're being pandered to, like like we all were for 15 years. So you know, it's just get used to it.
Because I felt the same way about the Star Trek shows that did it. When a character would show up and the Trekkie fans would applaud and stand up on their chairs, but if you were unfamiliar, you'd be like, who the fuck is this character?
It's the same thing with Khan showing up in Edge of Darkness. What the fuck's the name of that
Darkness
movie?
Forever. What is that called? On the
Star Dark
Into Darkness.
Yes.
Into Darkness. There we go.
It's like that makes it only works because people know who the fuck that guy is from 40 years ago. It's not built into the fabric of the movie that you're currently watching. And Kyle should know that because he's a James Bond fan. He knows how lame the Blofeld reveal was in the Spectre movie. It's the same thing.
Well, even in the Bond movies, they still say this is Q. He gives you inventions. They don't.
Oh yeah.
They repeat that information, and it's very easy to understand at that point.
I think Kyle just needs to come to terms with the fact he enjoys an inferior product.
Yeah, that's true. They've got mushy nuts, Clay. As I've said again, everyone's upset over there because of their mushy nuts. Hat89 says, if you could create your fantasy enterprise crew using any main characters from the show of any era, what would your crew look like? As in, which characters would you choose? We can do this quick. Hold on a second. Let me go to this. Okay, heads or tails?
Tails.
It was heads. So I'll go first with captain.
Okay.
I win. So I get to pick the captain. So
the two of us are forming our own.
Yeah, we'll form one crew. We'll just alternate the positions and see how things go. It'll give us each of us a chance to do something. So for captain, let's set up the stakes here. This is a show we want to see, or are we writing this show? Are we creating this show?
I didn't write the question.
If you could create your fantasy crew using any main character, who would you choose?
Fantasy Enterprise crew, as in like we have to be in the show Enterprise. So
I don't think it's Enterprise only. I read that and I'm ignoring that.
Archer, Suliban Soldier 1.
Mysterious Shadow guy.
The guy,
Mysterious Shadow Man.
The guy who runs the prison, who was from Quantum Leap.
Yep. As long as I get Daniels, that's fine.
And the one who makes Trip pregnant. That would be my main crew.
I assume he's just saying ship crew.
Clancy Brown.
Let's do we're creating the show. We get to write this and we get to, because that's a little bit more fun than just like Picard's the best actor kind of thing. And I like
Sure.
I'm taking Cisco as the captain.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cisco is the most interesting. Cisco's the most nuanced. I think that you could do things with Cisco, and I think that there's room to change him in ways and make it feel believable that Cisco's someone you can do that with. It's not as easy to do with Kirk or Picard or anything like that.
Is this Cisco if we're creating the show? It's Cisco
post disappearance.
He's come back. He only
that's
wears
not fair.
White dashikis now, and he's
this is
a man
peak.
of other worlds.
This is whatever show the character is coming from is like the peak of that show. So Cisco during the Dominion War is my Cisco. Yeah.
I would pick.
You're the first officer.
Oh, I was going to say I would pick Neelix.
Okay.
Because the conflict between Cisco and Neelix over the quality of the food would be worth watching.
So you get commander. Who's your commander on this Cisco show?
If Cisco is the captain, my commander is going to be. I keep trying to think of someone besides Riker, but I feel like Cisco and Riker would be a pretty good dynamic.
Yeah. I agree. I think it would be fun. I would go with Riker as well.
I could see if we're doing like idealized versions of characters, maybe Chakotay might be kind of interesting. If you
you want to change him a little bit, bring him back. Yeah.
If we're talking like the first half of the pilot era, Chakotay.
or worst case scenario, fake version of Chakotay.
Yeah, fake version of Chakotay, because he's a terrorist who now has to work for Starfleet. I mean, that's basically what Kira is, and I prefer. What is Kira's position?
Commander. She would be in this option.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would not choose Chakotay over Kira, but
it's tough to go with Kira and Sisko because I feel like we've done that.
Right.
Already,
so I would say Riker.
Okay, Riker's fair. What's the next position? Would you say it's like ops and comm person? Like, or what's the next position? You can pick the position. What, like rank or whatever?
Science officer.
Science officer. I mean, it's either Spock or Data, I think. Mm-hmm. I'll go with Data. Well, then you have Frakes. Do we want Spock in this show? Does that make sense?
I don't see why not. I mean, old Spock would be kind of fun.
I'll go with old. It's old Spock. Yeah, he's movie Spock after he came back from the dead. I'll go with Spock then. So we got Sisko, Riker, and Spock, which is funny enough on its own. So we'll go with a security officer for you next.
Tasha Yar.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's fine. After her death too, or is she?
Sure.
Did they rescue her from the planet?
I don't know. Whatever.
Tasha Yar. That's fine. Doctor.
Ooh, how about this? It's Tasha Yar, but she's an android.
Okay, like the Picard, after Picard died in modern Picard.
Like they use what if Data
rebuilds her?
What if Data wants to build himself a wife? It's not, he uses that little hologram of Tasha Yar that he has, which has enough of her personality in it that he can build an algorithm to create an AI version of her that goes into a robot body, and so that's Tasha Yar in this show. Or you can take a step further and blend the two of them together. And so you get this weird sort of like asexual half Data, half Tasha thing.
This is on.
It's just fully functioning itself all day.
This is on HBO just so Sisko can go, this is some fucked up shit. After that, Doctor. You can go with Doctor. I think people know what my Doctor would be.
Doctor. If we're not, I might go with the Doctor from Voyager. Because
the EMH.
Yeah, we don't really have that Data type. I like later era Spock isn't really that same role anymore.
Right.
And so that might be an interesting person.
Yeah, because we don't have the Data because I gave up on him for Spock. Yeah. So yeah, you do need that character in there.
And I think Riker interacting with that Doctor would be very fun.
I think I would agree with that. So you chose the Doctor. So should I choose engineer or security chief?
Engineer. Wait, security chief, because I don't know who those people are.
Okay, so it's either Worf, Odo, the guy from Enterprise, the British guy.
Oh wait, is that not what Tasha's position would be? Security chief?
Oh, why did we say Tasha? Did we already do security chief and I'm just blanking on it?
Maybe.
Why did we say Tasha? She's the security chief, I guess. So we have to skip that. So what do we have left? We have engineer and
the two people who sit in the front whose positions I don't know.
Yeah. I was considering like the helmsman, I guess, whether or not you need to have a helmsman on the show. We'll do engineer and wild card after that. So I'll do engineer, and with the Sisko, Riker, Tasha, Spock, EMH crew, I'll bring Torres in. I'll bring B'Elanna in because I think we need another female character, and I think that you could do a better job explaining what a half Klingon, half human problem would be. And
yeah,
I like just because Sisko's the captain, I'm thinking the show's got to be a little bit spicier. Like it's got to be, and I think B'Elanna would be a good fit for that. So I'll bring her on.
Yeah.
So the last one, it's wild card. So this is all the people. There's basically anyone, I guess. Quark, anyone like that who could fit on there.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see Worf and B'Elanna interact. I don't know if I would choose Worf. Worf is such a standby, though. He's tough to beat.
I feel like Worf's kind of done in a lot of ways. Like Worf's been done, characterized effectively, I think.
What about no, because I was going to say maybe a new version of Dax, but
yeah.
I mean, at that point, I don't know. That could be kind of interesting. I don't know. What do you think? I'm kind of.
I actually like that. If it's a new Dax, it's a new. It's a Dax Neelix. I would, if I couldn't do Dax, I would do. Who would I bring back? Enterprise. No one's good on Enterprise. Voyager. I'm sad we can't have Tuvok, but Spock's already there, and I don't think we need two Vulcans.
Well, I was going to say, as a wild card, I might choose Kirk, because throwing Kirk into that situation to interact with Sisko and Riker would be very interesting.
That is. Is he like post-captaincy at this point? He's like a free agent?
I would say movie era Kirk.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's good. So we've got Sisko as captain.
Just hangs out at Quark's bar the whole time.
Right. Yeah, he's just the wizened old sage.
Learns about the holodeck and asks how many different color skins we can pick.
So it's Sisko, Riker, Tasha, Spock, EMH, B'Elanna, and Kirk.
What a weird fucking show.
That's a strange show. And no Michael Burnham, unfortunately, for you, John. Cool. That's the second question. With third one, sorry if we don't get to all these, but we will come back.
Oh, yeah. Saru might be kind of fun in there somewhere. Moving on.
Yeah, he's not bad. I probably wouldn't pick Saru, I don't think. So the final comment from Matt Ross on Discord says, you both have referred to this season as a, quote, year of hell. How much, if any, of that is due to these stories versus getting used to extremely shortened series length of modern entertainment? So basically, the year of hell just a holdover from the fact that the show is very long running, that these 24 episode seasons are very long? Or is it that this season of Voyager was particularly hellish? Well,
I mean, bad episodes are bad episodes. Like season 2 of Picard was only 8 episodes, and that felt longer than this show did.
Yeah.
So I would say the length of the season doesn't have a lot to do with it, but it could be, if it's 25 episodes of bangers, then I'm not going to complain.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a bad season of Voyager. I don't, I guess because the length of the season doesn't matter, because the length of the season only really matters in a much more like mini-series context where it's one story, and at that point you're like, this is too long. But if you're doing episodic stuff like this, I don't really care outside of that. I just think that this was a particularly bad year of Star Trek episodes. Pretty weak overall. I guess we'll just sneak this last one in here quick. Point XG says, because I don't know if this is true for you, Clay, have you seen any of the very short tracks? Are they terrible, or are people just overthinking them?
I have not.
I have not seen any of them.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Is it on Paramount, or is it on YouTube or something like that? I don't know. We're going to go out with that energy, Clay. So when we're done. We haven't seen the very short tracks, Point XG. Let us know what you thought about them. That's it. Thanks for everybody for joining to watch this. Thanks for all the people who asked the questions. Thanks very much for listening to the podcast. And we will be back next week with Scorpion Part 1 and then our post-show. We'll probably do the post-show, just the wrap-up, Clay, if we have time to do that next week. Instead of like a post-show, we'll just do like our season wrap-up and just call it a day at that point. That's it. Thanks everybody for listening. We will see you next time.